Hi, I'm Shannon Rollins with Shannon Rollins Real Estate, and today I want to talk about several red flags you may want to be on the lookout for if you're selling your home and entertaining offers. Selling a home can be super stressful. Making sure you're evaluating the right things could be important and make for a smoother closing. There are a few things you'll want to look out for in your offers. The first one is a low earnest deposit. A very small earnest deposit could be an indication that there's something wrong. It could mean that the buyer is not totally confident they want this house and they don't want to risk a lot of money in earnest deposit, and therefore they are making it very small so that if they change their mind and they back out, they don't have a lot to lose. It also could indicate that maybe they don't have a lot of money. They haven't given any thought to what other funds they're going to need for closing, like their down payment or their closing costs. So that leads me to number 2. Be sure they are pre-approved. Be sure you have a pre-approval letter. If they don't have one, that's a big red flag. But I go even a step further. Contact that lender and ask, have they made formal loan application? Have they submitted their documents required? Have you reviewed the documents? If you hear from the lender, well, from what they're telling me, I think they're going to be fine, that's a red flag. That means they've not really looked at all the details yet for this buyer. And buyers sometimes, purposely or not intentionally, may forget to tell a lender something like they have to pay child support or alimony, or they don't really earn as much as they thought they did because nobody's looked at the actual document. So it's important to double check with the lender. And I know you get offers on the weekend and evenings, but that's okay. Most lenders should be willing to reach out to you as a seller or to the listing agent to tell them, yes, I have looked at their information and it looks good. The next one is accepting an offer that is contingent upon the buyer selling their home. This can be scary because this sometimes is called the domino effect. If there's several buyers and sellers in line that's contingent upon the previous contract closing, it could be a domino effect if something falls through upline, messing up all the down the road contracts. Well, then you want to do a few things. Ask the listing agent for a copy of that contract that they have on their house. You want to look at that contract to see how long have they been under contract. Did they just sign it yesterday and they're just starting the process? When is their due diligence up? Is there any other contracts contingent on that contract selling? You want to look at all those details to know what you're getting into. And if you have a buyer that is making that kind of offer, their house is not under contract yet, perhaps you negotiate instead a 24-hour kick-out clause where you keep your house active on the market, can entertain offers until which time they get an accepted contract on their house or get an accepted contract and go through due diligence. This protects you as the seller. Buyer that's making an offer above listing price and asking for cash back at closing. Let me be clear, this is different from a buyer making an offer price above listing and asking for a seller to pay closing costs. A buyer is asking for cash at closing. The other kind of buyer is asking for the seller to pay for their closing costs at closing. That scenario is okay. The buyer asking for cash back at closing could be a big red flag. You have to be careful too. This could be fraudulent behavior. If they're getting a loan, this could be fraudulent loan and it could be legally a problem for you. So be on the lookout for that. The last red flag you want to look out for is somebody that is asking for a really delayed closing date. Especially with a low earnest deposit, you have to ask yourself why. Ask and find out why are they asking for such a far out closing date. Now it could be that they have to sell a house or sell a property in order to get cash to be able to close on the house that they want to buy from you. But they don't want to write that in the contract because they don't want it to be a contingent contract. So they could be kind of sneaky about it and say, let's put a low deposit down, let's ask for a far out closing date, let's see if we can get this house under contract prior to needing to close on your house. You really want to know those details. Again, that's why talking to the lender is important because you'll find out. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions about buying or selling, give me a call. My team and I are on standby 7 days a week, ready to help you take the smoother road to sold.